Oh, that's us. We're
That
live.
is us. That is us.
Welcome back, Canes fans. We are back for season 3 of Canes on Deck.
Yeah,
Is it
season
season
three.
3?
I think so.
Wow, this is unbelievable. We are live here at the Hurricane Team store underneath the Thesis Hotel. If you want to stop by and get some really cool merch, they've got some brand new gear that just came out. Some really nice stuff. I'm staring at it right now. This sweater is pretty badass. Um,
This is a tough place to do a show from because
yeah,
we're
I'm
backed up to the wall. So all we're looking at is merch.
I'm just ready to max out my credit cards here. So
Leave your wallet at home when you do the live show. Lesson
shout,
learned.
shout out to Jeremy, Harry, and the rest of the staff here at the Hurricane Team Store. This place is awesome, so make sure you guys come check it out and mention the Kings on Deck. I don't know what that's going to get you, but who knows? If you mention it, you never know, right? It's worth a shot. You
Yeah,
always got to shoot your shot. Oh, happy Valentine's Day to all the lovers out there as well.
yeah. And then
Um,
CCH
yeah, there he
unaffected
goes.
by the
And mid-season form, baby.
yeah, and I think he thinks you're wearing a Clemson hat, which you are not.
Not a chance. Not a chance, buddy.
You can tell him what it is, or
Yeah,
not.
yeah. This is not a. This is the Archbishop Coleman Carroll High School hats. I am the pitching coach over there. Just came straight from practice, as a matter of fact. So, shout out to the Bulldogs, the Carroll Bulldogs, as well as we started off the season already. Also, um, so I'm just like all baseball now. By the way, and honestly, a shout out to the Canes football team. Right, they gave us 2 extra months of Canes football. We all know the ride that we went on with them. So we're really excited, but it really backed us up here, baseball wise. This is crazy. We're just getting started with baseball now. Season just got underway last night as the Canes are starting the season here at home against Lehigh, and we're just excited. Baseball's back, Vish. I'm excited. I mean, I'm like baseball. Obviously, baseball for me is the number one thing in my life, man. I love it. I love the sport. I love just the game in general. And as much as I love football, I think baseball for me is it hits a little bit, home. So I'm really excited that baseball's back. Not only for Canes baseball, obviously high school baseball, as I'm back coaching a little bit as well and helping out the kids. But baseball is a beautiful sport, man. It's an amazing sport. Miami is riding all. Listen, they had a great playoff run last year as well. Canes baseball. And look for them to come out this year. It's a really good team. Baseball is strong. It's alive. It's healthy here at the University of Miami with Coach JD Artiaga and the rest of his staff, and a lot of the newcomers. A lot of new faces around the diamond, not only from the transfer portal, but a great recruiting class as well. So you're going to see. I think this team is loaded with depth at the in the lineup and also pitching. Right now, there's still some things that they're trying to figure out as far as who is going to solidify that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think we know who the Friday guy is for sure. But got some new relievers, some new closers as Nick Robert is still nursing
Yeah, he's
an
working
injury.
his way
So
back.
a lot of things going on in Canes baseball. We obviously got to see them play last night. It was a 13-2 game.
Shout out Evan. We're doing a Formula One show on Monday, by the way.
Oh,
So
nice. There you go. Yeah,
yeah,
F1 is back
yeah.
too.
Well,
Oh
it's
my
around the
gosh.
corner with new
There's
rules, and Cadillac
new
is in there.
cars.
Cadillac is a thing now.
Yep, it
So
sure is. That's gonna be fun
yeah,
also. So
yeah.
I mean, what's your take on this season? I know we got to see him yesterday play. It's game one. It's against Lehigh. That's not a knock on Lehigh, but we haven't gotten to the into ACC play and playing some of what you would call our tougher competition. But what are you most excited about when it comes to this baseball program,
Well,
this team?
I think you talked about depth. I think depth in the lineup is a term you don't often use. Usually, like, oh, how good are your backups? And that's how you define depth. I feel like the last couple of years, and especially last year, the Canes were very front heavy in their lineup. I think, yes, it was Lehigh, but one of the things that was pretty obvious was you get to the seventh, eighth guys, they can still hit. And last year was very much if you get through like the top five or six, the pitcher gets like a breather inning,
Right.
and that's not there anymore. And I think that's a big change. In fact, that 6 run third inning is it started with the bottom of the lineup.
Right.
You weren't really seeing a lot of that last year. Now again, Lehigh, so there's context here, but I just if you look at the bats that are there, there's just a lot more inside the actual starting lineup. So I think that's really, really an important distinction. I mean, CCA just talked about some of the guys that played quite a bit last year, and I just feel like there's been a bit of an upgrade there, which will
Yeah.
make it a lot harder on pitchers.
Well, one of the biggest things, right? Even though we had a great run towards the end of the season, one of the biggest bats that we missed towards that end of the run was Derek Williams, and obviously he came back in the postseason and was able to, play really well down the stretch in those final games. But you missed a bat like Derek Williams in that lineup, and you get him back. He looks like he's
Two
healthy. He looks
doubles and
like
a
he's
single,
ready to go.
I'd say so.
And so I fully expect Derek to come back and have a really, really solid year this year. He's got protection, but he's also the protector. So he's going to be doing some protection himself, which bodes well for guys like Alex Sosa and Cuvée, who Sosa hit a big bomba last night also in his not his second at bat, but his first game as a Miami Hurricane coming from NC State. So, uh, yeah, I mean, you talk about the guys that were here last year that are still playing, like Fabio Peralta got the start last night. Max was DHing. Max had a nice 2-run double as well early on in the game. So, yeah, some of those bats are going to be there. They're going to be consistent. But now you add guys like Brylan West and Cian Copeland, who got in late last night as well, who will probably see a lot more time at the DH and first base spot. Um, regularly. Yeah, still working through some stuff.
Through the overall lineup and the rotation for that matter, the pitching rotation. So yeah, this is the feel out part of the season. I think if you go back to the starters on the opening day last year, very different by the end of the year. Very different pitching rotation.
Now you have a confident AJ Siskar who we didn't know we were going to get out of him initially, and he comes in here. He's not throwing 96, 97, but he's just a bulldog. He knows how to pitch. He knows what to do with the baseball. He knows how to manipulate hitters, and he looked sharp last night. There was a couple of instances where he may have thrown too many pitches, gotten to some full counts,
but as well.
Yes, true. You're right.
Errors, there were several you can't give an error, but a play you'd like to see made. Their 2-run inning that they got off of AJ were a series of hits that never left the infield.
Right.
And one error, and then a couple of fielder's choices on base.
I mean, the first hitter had a catcher's interference for crying out loud on a.
Yeah, so there was a little bit. Again, that's some of those first game working some things out, but I thought AJ looked pretty sharp given that it was the opener.
Yep. I mean, even some of the guys that we haven't seen yet that we're really excited about, and they're not necessarily from the transfer portal. I'm talking about JD had a hell of a class when it comes to freshmen coming in. Guys like Dylan Dubovic, who you're probably going to see a lot of this year as well. Big kid. He's a two-way player, so not only does he play back, not only does he hit, but he's a pitcher as well. You got guys like Dylan Jeffrey, not Dylan Jeffrey, Donovan Jeffrey, excuse me, Mason Greenhouse. You've got guys coming back that have gotten stronger and better. Had a really Alex Degodi had a really strong camp as well, a nice fall.
Brandon,
so right? I'm sorry, Brandon. I'm thinking about his brother. Jesus. Alex Degodi was a hell of a player too, by the way. Brandon Degodi coming in off of a solid fall campaign as well. So you got a lot of again. We go back to it.
The 2005 class was very
JD. Yeah, that's tough. But yeah, I mean, listen, you could be right. You could be right, and I think that it's all headlined by the pitching that they brought in. They brought some really good arms in. Not only in the portal, but in that class of freshmen, you got some really nice arms also. So Miami's poised to make a run again this year at a super regional, obviously hosting a regular regional, making it back to Omaha as well. So I think there's big things coming for this program. I think this year is going to be a really exciting year for Canes baseball. But again, this is a game of hot and cold, right? It's a game of failure, number one. It's also a game of hot and cold. So you got to stay consistent, right? Not too high, not too low. Stay consistent.
Yeah, if you recall last year,
win your series.
Yeah, if you recall last year, though, we were about half. I feel like we reached apocalypse level against Stetson when that was where
oh God, what did we lose? 12-4, I think it was.
But it was a midweek game, and it was the one where Cuvée tried to no look past to first and threw it into the dugout, and it was I've been going as obviously CCH in the chat and several of our viewers have been going to for years. never experienced a crowd just give
That was
up
rough.
and like lose it like in that game.
That was
And
rough.
for the next week, that's all I was like, this is done, right? Like, I mean, what is this? And
Yeah.
from there to an out from Omaha is a remarkable turnaround. But to Jazz's point, did it the hard way.
Yeah.
One of the last teams to make it into the tournament, and that took a huge win streak and winning, like you said, winning series against really good teams repeatedly to get to that point to barely get in. So it's really important that these games, because remember last year Villanova beat them, Stetson we mentioned, Connecticut took the series
Right.
off of them. So all those things made it much more difficult. Like again, we talk about this every year, right? Goal is to get top 8 so you can host all the way to the Omaha. Obviously, that didn't happen last year, but at the very least, you don't want to be messing around with the bubble
Right.
and when you leak these games early in the year. So I'm not going to apologize for a 13-2 win.
No, I'm not either. By the way, so just to give you an idea, Miami, it looks like a lot of. I think I saw it on D1 Baseball, Vish, where Miami is right now uh, looking to be potentially a 2 seed in the tournament.
Yeah,
What are
that's
your
where they were
thoughts on
slated.
that?
They're
Yeah.
slated as a 2 seed DUF.
What do you think?
Who lost last night, by the way? Shout out to them.
That's right. Shout out to the Gators for.
No, I think they're misseeded. I think this team is underrated.
They're good enough to be a 1 seed, I think.
I think they're good enough to be a national seed.
Yeah.
I think this team can be top 8, and I think they're being underrated because I think we talked about all the players that came back, but again last year was very uneven, and I think we saw the team get better, we saw them get comfortable, and we saw them excel towards the end of the year, really the back half of the season, because they didn't do that just to get into the tournament.
Right.
And so we look at that as last year's team being, and obviously they were out away from making it, but the postseason's a little weird. But we're like, hey, that team was good enough to be in Omaha, and I don't think it's necessarily viewed that way outside of South Florida.
Right.
It was kind of like, wow, nice run. And we're like, no, we saw them play like this for 2 months to get to the playoffs in the first place, because before that,
Well, nobody was paying attention to us. Like you said, nobody was paying
I think
attention
when you
to
look
us.
at a team that was a 3 seed,
Right.
that then wins a road regional and then gets to the deciding game in the Super and loses by a run, I think most outside people would look at that as, wow, great postseason run.
Right.
When we saw this team play elite baseball for months to get in, so I think for us,
it was
the
like
context is very different. So
absolutely.
I think they're being underrated completely because again, we saw them do it for not just over regionals and supers, but for months leading up to that to get in.
Right.
Because about mid-March, like since then, all the way through to that was in June, playing some of the best baseball in the country, and they had to because again, losing to Villanova and losing the Texas games will get you into trouble.
So just kind of going off of that, again, last year off to a slow start. Danny Cuvée obviously off to a really slow start as well. I feel like now he's got some protection around him. He's got some really good bats around him now. He's got Derek Williams back. He's got Sosa. Max is hitting right in front of him, who had a solid year last year as well. So you've got all these guys. You're bringing a shortstop and Van Sheehan as well, who is a really solid guy in the lower half of that batting lineup. So if you had to pick, Vish, like what is something that could be considered a flaw, or something that not necessarily you're concerned about, but something that you think Miami needs to work on to stay consistent and be able to get through the whole season and play as good as we think they can.
Yeah. So CCH talked about this, right? We're going to see over the next week the depth in the pitching. I think that's where, for example, last year Nick Robert was the ace coming here, got hurt. And I'm talking about Siskar specifically, but there's certain guys that they're going to need to be healthy to avoid having to do what they did last year. So I would say pitching is probably borderline in terms of depth. I would like another arm or two.
Yeah, to develop, to kind of pop up.
Yeah.
And again, we'll see now, right, in the next 6 games.
Yeah, but that can happen over the course of the season. But I would say that, and yeah, I don't know how good this and then CCH. I'm still hearing sort of not the base running, so we can figure that out. But the defense, I don't know how strong. Yesterday was obviously not great. There was in addition to 3 errors, there was a lot of
you saw the miscommunication a little bit in the middle.
That'll kind of happen in the first game, but I don't look around our I mean, I think you look at Mikey Torres, you're like, that is an elite defender. But I
Right.
think most of the other guys, you would say, um, probably not. Like,
Yeah,
like they're
I'll be honest with you.
more known for hitting.
I think our outfield is elite from a defensive point. I think even Derek Williams. I think he
He's
doesn't
good.
get the
He's good.
credit
He's good.
because he doesn't look like the speedster guy, but he runs well.
He's
He's
good.
got a solid arm.
But he wouldn't. I
He
guess my
doesn't stand out
yeah
as a guy
yeah
that's but he's good.
he
Max
yeah
is good, but however, towards the later, well, this happened last year, right? Like they would sub him out for defensive
yeah.
purposes.
Well, that's because look,
You got a guy like Fabio,
Fabio.
right?
When you get Fabio and Mikey out there, and we'll see. That's kind of your defensive lineup. You can put Max out there and
Right.
DH, like you mentioned, Copeland, and get a lot more of a offensive lineup. And I'm sure they'll play around with that as the season goes on. But yeah, I would expect that anyway. That Fabio, if he's not starting, would come in as a as a defensive sub. So yeah, we heard some of this about
Yeah. Now that you said, I wasn't gonna say it
yeah
first, but
yeah
it
we
looked
kind of
like
knew that. Yeah, so
that's why you saw Fabio start at left field
we
because Copeland's
think.
more
But
of a
again,
DH
I
slash
would
first
expect
baseman.
Copeland to start at DH and Max
Right.
in the outfield a lot, and also I would expect Fabio to play a lot too and potentially continue to start because his defense is really good. His back got better, and you don't have to make that trade off necessarily. So all these guys are going to play, and this is the depth we're talking about.
Right.
Like there was no doubt these guys are starting on last
Yeah.
year's team, and I was like, hey, we actually have to choose someone. So that's the better part. And again, health is an issue, right? If anything happens, you
Right.
have that depth now. Like just like what happened with Max is he's banged up, so he's not playing in the field. And you get to plug in one of the better defenders on your team who can also hit.
Who can hit, right? Who
It's like,
still can
okay,
hit.
that's great.
So
Yeah, that works.
I think a lot of people look at Fabio and say, well, he's a small outfit. He's not that small. He's about 6'2", and
Yeah, no,
he's
and again,
put together.
and he's got a good arm.
He's got a good.
Torres has a cannon. And so you get those two out there, and it is
Yeah, I think Mike is the best outfielder in the country from a defense
very well Mike.
perspective. I don't know who's better than him out
but
there.
you get them both out there. They're really covering so much ground that it is hard to hit balls in gaps and do all that thing. It saves a lot.
Here's another thing that I would say, Vish.
Defensive infield, however,
yeah,
I don't know that any of those guys you look at and say they're not if they're bad.
I still like Jake as shortstop better, but again, it's game one, so I'm gonna kind of reserve my thoughts on that for now.
Yeah, I'm assuming that they thought that Shaheen fits better there and Jake. But either way, I don't think we were never like, okay, Jake is like this. He's not.
Like if you want a legit defensive short infield, you put guys in like the goalie or something like that, right?
That's my point,
right?
And that's not what I'm suggesting to do. I'm just saying you asked what was
right, yeah.
Specifically, color this as a negative discussion. Like what could go wrong, and CCH brought the defense, which I do think is. Yeah, I think
I think he's right.
When you look at Cuvée and West and Shaheen in particular, and Ogden to a certain extent, like they're there for their bat.
100%.
So,
although I've seen Ogden make some pretty sweet plays,
and that doesn't mean that. I mean, especially I think, and Cuvée, oscillates between. He does.
He's like, you know who Cuvée reminds me of? He reminds me of a third base Ray Ordonez. Ray Ordonez used to make all the hard plays look easy, pedestrian. Now he's got all these little rollers, or he's got something that's hit directly to him, and he ends up throwing it away, digging it in the ground. He's got to fix that.
He's got a big arm, so he's
right, and I think that's what he tries. He tries to get away with that too a little bit, and he can now, but at the next level, it might be tougher. Here's what I will say about that lineup. I'm confident that the lineup is stronger. I will say that last night's lineup that you saw is more of a defensive lineup. We talked about this a little bit. So that back end, that 7, 8, 9, we did have a man in scoring position, if I'm not mistaken, and we caved 3 times in a row. And so that obviously cannot happen. You've got to put the ball in play. You've got to get it out there.
We had I think 5 batters strike out in a row, 5 out.
Right, and those things can't happen. We have to continue to limit the strikeouts, regardless of whether it's against good or bad teams. Because strikeouts, you don't do anything. Strikeouts are absolutely useless because you're not putting the ball in play. You're not allowing a guy like Mikey Torres is a perfect example. I think that he has to cut down his strikeouts, because we know his type of game. He's not going to hit the ball 600 feet. He's not going to hit these doubles off the wall, right? He's a guy that's going to get some base hits, or he's a guy that's going to hit a dribbler and get on first, he's going to make it happen to try to get on base, and then he's going to go around with
Yeah, no,
with
no,
his ability
he's a
to run
threat
the
once he gets
bases.
on the base. Yeah.
That's his game. So if he's going to if he's going to go out there, he's going to do that, limit his strikeouts, then I think he's going to be fine. But if you get a guy like Mikey Torres, who can't get on the base path because he's striking out so much, you may have to look at some other options.
Well, then again,
From that
Fabio
perspective,
started a lot of last year too.
right, which is probably the option.
So,
Yeah, which is
you
probably
have
the option.
options there.
So there's again, when you start playing some of these teams and you put up, 10 runs, or you want to give the guys a break, you got guys like Mason Greenhouse, who's a pretty damn good guy defensively out there. I know he's a freshman, so you're probably going to see some of these guys from a depth perspective get some playing time against some of these teams when we have big leads or whatnot. So uh, I'm excited for not only this year but the future, because I know there's a lot of question marks with, well, we recruited, we have so many guys on the bench that we recruited to come in that are freshmen, transfer portal. Well, you got to think about it. Like, look at that whole entire infield is gone next year. So you have to replace those guys. So I don't see a lot of movement on guys leaving from the portal. You may get a couple guys they have to bring in to compete for that position, but when you bring in guys like Bennett Gary and Jalen Watkins and Gabby Milano, obviously we haven't even mentioned his name, and Magana from Columbus, you brought in some top tier talent there that's going to get playing time this year and it's going to be able to develop. You're probably going to see those guys jump up and be the next man up at third, at shortstop, and develop into some really, really good players. So I'm excited to see them play a little bit.
That's all about. So I think very few, especially in baseball. In fact, probably basketball is the one sport where as a true freshman you're like, I should be playing. Every other sport, like you kind of know, and so the first year is about line of sight to playing time as much as anything else.
Absolutely.
Like if you know you're not playing, then and it starts getting to your second year and third year, and you're like, then that's when you start
Different
seeing
story.
people like as Jazz says, we know a lot of these guys are leaving after this year, and so the freshmen coming in, I think they all know. Like no one's like, oh, I'm going to start in front of Cuvée. They're not thinking that, so that's not going to upset them. It's more,
right?
Do they see a role for they're going to experience the program culture for a year, right? Does it actually fit what their expectations were coming in? Do they have a good relationship with the coaches after that year of playing here? And what do they think their role is going to be next year? And those are discussions that they have after the season. So I see CCH saying there's a different mindset. I would agree, except this is nothing here is new. Like again, if someone came in thinking they were going to,
that's not to say you'll see some guys leave. Absolutely
some guys
will
leave because again, it doesn't fit what their expectations are. Maybe after a year here, because obviously they see them in practice, they see them in the cages, they see the pitchers throwing, if they're not on the mat, even if they're not playing. So they'll get a better evaluation of the coaches will too, and they'll have those conversations too. And sometimes the players saying, this didn't fit what I wanted. Sometimes the coach being like, look, we don't know what your role is going to be because they're not what the coaches expected. So,
right.
But in terms of this being a different mindset, yeah. But so this is the thing though. What I would say is anyone coming in here thinking they were going to start in front of Brylan West or Cuvée or Ogden or Sosa did not have the academics to get into Miami. So I'm not worried about that. It's again how this year goes for them with the context already knowing they're not going to play that much.
Right.
Like unless there's.
Let's be honest. I think Jackson Hughes came here understanding what his role was.
I think they
right?
all did
like,
though, because
Alonzo Alvarez, the same thing.
At least for this year, because again, there was no one that thought, oh yeah, I'm going to get Cuvée out this lineup. Come on.
Right.
This is not. That was not what that was.
And then Sosa.
Yeah, but again, last year the catcher position isn't what it is now, right? Again, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that can happen. That's the point, though, right? Those are discussions, but nothing. So again, Anthony, I'll address your comment as well. Nothing happening this season in terms of playing time is what Jazz is going. Is going to force these guys into the portal.
Yeah.
Other events might.
Sure.
Like if you think
there's a lot of things that can happen during the season,
including who comes in, right?
I mean, it happened with Jake last year, Kulikowski, who looked like he was going to have a prominent role, and then didn't. And sometimes you need a fresh start, you need a change. But Kulikowski was actually here a couple of years before he decided to move on because he wanted to feel that out, right? Yeah. And I think that's going to happen more likely than not. Plus, you're not going to get a ton of coaches that are going to take a guy in the portal that's got zero playing time, zero stats at all. You got to be able to see some stuff. Now, yeah, there may be some guys like a Milano or Magana, right, who were, I mean, playing for some of the best teams in the state of Florida or in the country that you know what you're going to get for the most part out of those guys. But and that's why you keep them here. That's why you keep them here and develop them and let them get their at bats here and there. And next season, those are probably your guys. Like I'd be hard to believe that a guy like Milano or even Magana won't won't be in that lineup or at least potentially a part
Really
of that
an
lineup.
opportunity, and we'll see what happens.
So, and I know we're looking ahead, but again,
Well, that's
that's
the other thing
that's
I want
something
to
we
say. Well,
gotta.
first of all, let's shout out some people in the chat. This is Carly, Evan's sister.
Hey,
And
Carly.
then I saw. I'm gonna have to scroll pretty
He's
far,
by
but I saw.
Anthony, Eric,
Well, once you get those two going, but
Blue Green Street.
I am pretty sure I saw Evan's mom
You
earlier.
might have
Probably
seen.
be able to
Yeah,
find it.
I saw Evan though.
Yeah, no, but Evan, that was from earlier. I'm scrolling.
Why you do that? Why you do that?
Scrolling. There it is. Shout out to Jane.
Hey, are you are
Well,
you
real quick, I just want to address a
what did
couple
he
of
say?
comments.
Oh.
So, like, there were comments made about, they see Cuvée. I know CJ said first base. Anthony said, oh, they think he's going to move to DH. Not this year. Like, we're covering the college team. Understand he might not play third base in the majors,
Right, yeah,
but that's not what we're talking about.
He's probably be a
But
first
Jazz says he
baseman or
needs to improve
DH.
it. Like, we can't have errors and stuff. We're trying to win
Now.
the championship right now,
Yeah.
man. I don't know what you're talking about next year.
Yeah.
So that's it. Sorry, go ahead, Jazz. I know you were.
Oh, well, can I answer this one? GP20 Rock. What are
Here we go, the
your guys'
shakes.
favorite shakes? Man, I love a good old fashioned J Row, and I do like the red velvet as well. I'm a fan of the red velvet. So
Yeah, I've got to go with the rag arm. That was my go-to.
Vish actually likes all the ones that come
Well,
come
I
through
don't like them,
during
but
the
I will
regionals.
taste them. So I did take some extra Tums today, so I'm ready to go for that red hot one.
Ooh.
That's going to be painful.
I'm kind of old school. Actually, growing up, I loved the black and white. It was just chocolate and vanilla.
Have you tried the JD yet? I mean, the Mario?
No, I haven't. I tried the JD.
The JD's been there.
Yeah, JD's been pretty good.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to try that at some point.
The Wizard is half decent, but yeah, I gotta try some more. Not tonight.
Mario's,
Not tonight. You're on your own tonight.
Well,
Real quick on the pitching, right? Lachi gets a start tonight. Lazaro Carrera gets a start tonight. A kid that last year we saw some promise, right? We know that he had his velo had dropped a little bit. Looks like he's lost some weight, got in really good shape. Velo back up a little bit, 93 to 95. It looks like. He's someone that, and we didn't expect him to be our number two. We obviously were talking a lot about Robbie Evans, who still could be our number two. He's working on some things that we're going to keep in house and not mention here. But I fully expect him to come in, and he looked like he had a hell of a summer.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, the rotation's a little fluid at this point.
Yeah.
Nick Robert opening day ace last year.
Right. Although I think Siskar's okay.
He got hurt, right? But that's the point, right? He got hurt, so Nick did. So stuff happens. Like, so don't fall in love with the rotation exactly as the setup is all I'll say.
I'll answer that question in a second, Anthony. Yeah, so we could still see Robbie in that rotation, but Lachi, I mean, look, if he can stay, throwing hard right throughout those 3, 4, 5, 6 innings that we're gonna need him to go, he's got good off-speed stuff. He was a hell of a pitcher in high school, obviously, and high hopes for him to come in and be very productive at the next level. I'm excited to see what he does today. It's obviously, been good for him that he's worked hard. He's worked up, his way up into that rotation. If he stays there, great. If he does really well. If not, I fully expect him to be kind of like that midweek guy, along with some of the other guys that we have on the staff. I know Lofgren. We saw Braxton Lofgren throw yesterday. We saw Lyndon Gladwell throw yesterday. We saw Jake Dorn, who's another guy that could be a midweek or even a weekend guy, who's really played really well and worked out really hard in the summer and the fall. So
we got one batter from the closer. So
we got what? Who?
We got one batter from the closer.
Oh, yeah, from Bilko, right?
Yeah.
Him.
So he came in. So there was
Packy Bradley is another kid that.
It was a little dicey there in the 8th inning when they had 2 on and no out, and it was only a 4-run game, and then they had up 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs, and Bilko came in, got the K, and then by the time we pitched again. It was 13-2, so he got us one batter.
Yeah, I
But
know.
yeah, he came and struck the guy out, did his job.
We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Anthony asks if there's anybody in the class of 26 and 27. Yes, the top two players in the class of 2026, the top two players in the country. Listen to me. The top two players in the country for 2026, high school, baseball, college, you name it, are committed to Miami. So I fully expect them not to be on campus. Jacob Lombard and Gio Rojas are those guys. So the shortstop at Gulliver and Gio's over at Stillman Douglas. You're probably not going to see them step foot in at
Yeah, those are
Barclight.
the type. I will say for other kids, it's always up in the air. It depends on like some of them have, some of them just want to go to college. They'll tell scouts that, and then they won't even. They'll get drafted way later because they know they're not going to sign.
Well, now listen, things could change, right?
Others get drafted higher because like they communicate, I do want to go pro, so that gives them a little bit more value to just teams want to draft someone and have them not show up.
Yeah.
However, when you start talking about top 5 pick in the first round, that's a little bit different. Those kids tend to not.
Listen, now anything can happen, right? You never know.
Those kids tend to like.
God forbid there's an injury. God forbid something happens.
Those
Yeah.
ones tend to just be.
And the NIL changes things. It's not going to change it that much for a first round pick, top 5.
Well, especially when you're picked that high.
Right.
Because again,
that's life changing money.
Yeah,
so.
not only life changing. I think the biggest thing with you obviously know this. I'm sure most of our viewers do as well. But you're making a 3-year decision. When you're coming out of high school, so it's not a 1 year like other in basketball is the only other one where you're really making that.
Right. Which they're looking to change.
Well, right now you have to go to college for a year, but it is just a year.
What about all these idiots that are trying to come from the G League to play college? Anyways, I'm sorry. I digress. Yeah, it's another show.
But so for that, they are kind of like they can after that 1 year college, they can go pro whenever they want. Baseball has that rule where you have to be 3 years out of high school, or you can go straight. So they are really making a 3-year decision at that point. So if you're going top 10 in the MLB draft, you're going because you like you said, not only is it life changing money,
it'd be dumb not to.
3 years of waiting around for that money to show up, and then who knows?
Yeah.
Is a lot. So.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Anthony. That doesn't. So most of those guys don't want to come back.
Yeah, not. I think there's a distinction between
development.
You're
gonna get believe it or not, you're probably gonna get developed. It's pro ball, man. Come on.
Well, I think there's a distinction between like first, top few rounds guys,
right?
Even maybe back of the first round and top 5, top 10.
Yeah, it's a big deal. There's a big deal. And look, to be honest with you, man, some of these guys. Top 4 or 5 rounds. It's hard to say no to that money, man. That's big money. I know the NIL has something to say, but NIL in baseball is light years away from football.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get the same amount of money that you would like if football had some sort of one and out type of deal also, or a minor league system like baseball does. It'd be a different story.
Well, to CCH's point, now that to payback on you hijacking the show, I want to talk about. Why can't we go get minor leaguers if you can go pro and come back?
What the hell, right? Well, actually, funny story is there is a loophole. You just can't come back and play Division I baseball. And I know
you can play
a friend of mine played
Division
II baseball after being drafted. You just can't go back into the draft. You can only get picked up as a free agent after that, which is weird to begin with, but it is what it is. Yeah.
So answering this question, I do the show every weekend. Not necessarily every week, and we will do the show regularly. So basketball and football shows for those of you the 5 regions network, we do year round. Baseball we do during baseball season.
What if we offer David Shields right now? Yeah, let's go.
It's obviously back, so we will be doing baseball shows regularly throughout the season.
Bring Carlos Correa back. What the hell? Bring him to Miami. Anyway, do you see we're going to see more international recruits?
All right. So. But yes, we will be. Just stay tuned to the network. We'll advertise how we're doing it. You'll get. We're hopefully at least a show a week. So.
At least a show a week.
Work around work schedules and all that stuff, but we'll get it done.
We'll have high school baseball updates for you too.
Jazz is already very crowded work schedule. Just picked up another.
Just a little bit more.
For the hell of it, so.
Just gotta love the kids, man. But shout out to. By the way, I gotta give a shout out to someone I saw today who's very near and dear to me, who helped my baseball career very much so 25 years ago, and happened to win a national title at the University of Miami as well. And it's none other than, to me, the best pitching coach in the country is. That's not a knock on JD or Laz or anybody else, but another Laz, Laser Collazo. I got to see him today. Yeah, I got to see him today.
Man's a legend.
And he is a legend. He is uh, a near and dear guy to my heart, and I love
I think a
him.
lot of
So
supporters are.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
So he's a
his fingerprints are all
he's a
over.
crazy sucker, but he
Yeah.
is the man, man. So we love him. So shout out to once a Kane, always a Kane, and Laser Callazo. It's got to see him today. So much love to him. But um, yeah, I love what they're doing. I think that Miami's got a great opportunity to do some stuff this year to be really special, man. Stay healthy, continue to develop that depth, and I think Miami's got a shot to get to Omaha again. And this time, I am going to Omaha for sure.
All right. Yes, we will. So, as to fully answer the question, we do a show every week, all the way through the Canes
Yes, I'm aware that we
celebrating
haven't run a
dog,
ring since he left. Obviously,
dogpiling. Don't read up. Dogpiling on the field in Omaha. We will be there. So,
yes, sir.
with that said, as CCH said, a lot of games going on. Head out to the light tonight, 6 p.m. Tomorrow noon. Couple of midweeks and then a full weekend series also next weekend. So
Yeah, 2 midweek games, right?
yeah, two
Yeah,
midweek games, Wednesday and Tuesday and Wednesday,
we'll
and
be
then
out
a
there.
full season, full weekend series again next weekend. So a lot of baseball. Go check it out.
See you guys later.
Yep, and we will be back at some point. So stay tuned to Five Reasons Canes, and
We'll be back.
we will be publishing out when we're going. But again, head out to light. You'll see us out there, and go Canes.
Go Canes.